他们来台湾的时候，台湾给他们什么样的印象？
I had to do a 21-day quarantine in my hotel.
而且他们觉得台湾跟其他国家哪里不一样？
我是来台湾是从大陆来的。
我们来一起看。
你一开始来台湾的时候，你的第一个印象是什么？你还记得吗？
哦，我是来台湾是从大陆来的，所以那个时候我感觉，我大陆的话，我感觉太烦的了，所以是为什么？因为人比较多，太吵的了。后面我来了台湾，我的是什么 impression？ 我就非常 shock。
为什么？
因为我是第一个城市来的，就是台中，所以我们那时候我没去过台北或者垦丁或是哪里的，所以是我感觉这里的 climate 非常的漂亮，气候好看，人安静，所以可能我第一个 impression 的话就是人很安静，就是你从别的地方来是可能没那么大的影响，但是你从大陆来的话，你昨天在大陆，今天来了台湾，你就会感觉。真的是 shock 就非常礼貌，讲的声音就 OK 的，比较低，所以我可以说我第一个 impression 是一个好 impression。
那真是好的。
对，所以的话就是因此我就同意，我就愿意在这里学习，留下来在台湾。所以我感觉我是去过30多个国家，我觉得台湾是其中最好之一，真的，可能是最好之一，对，最好之一的国家。
那你是一开始是为什么选去台湾？是因为要上课吗？还是什么原因？
我为什么来了台湾？就是为了上课，我就是为了学习。然后学习的话，因为我的这个电脑学，我是学过，就开始学比较早，因为我接 case 比较多，但是一定要说没有专业的话，就可能我的工资不会太高，我就不能直接去大公司。但是我一定要说，台湾确实一个漂亮的地方，有很好的 climate， 有很好的人，而且确实非常友好，有什么问题他会帮你，就这样，这就是原因。学习。
What was your first impression when you came here to Taiwan?
My first impression? Oh, that's a good question actually. Maybe it's quite leafy.
Leafy?
Yeah, there's like lots of trees and yeah, I was surprised about that. I was surprised that everyone only speaks Mandarin. I thought maybe I would hear some
English,
not English, like Taiyu. But no Taiyu in Taipei, only Mandarin. Yeah, so that was interesting.
Do you still remember like your first impression when you just came here?
I remember the first time that I came on my own. I was in this hotel in Taoyuan, and I was just looking outside, and it was pouring rain, and it was so dark, and I thought, what did I get myself into? Here I am by myself in the middle of a place that I don't even know, and then I remember waiting for a little bit and looking out the window again, and it was just a beautiful sunset. And it looked so nice, and then I thought, okay, it'll be fine. And I went outside, and I wasn't scared.
And do you remember like when you came here, what was your first impression?
When I came here for the first time, I was living in Korea 6 months before, and I saw a huge difference. In Korea, it was really noisy, and the life was stressful. And here, it was more like super peaceful, and people always smiling and open-minded. It feels like holidays.
Because you said like you came here 4 times before you moved here, right? Or 3 times?
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah, I came here as holidays, so 3-4 days maximum. And it feels really like holidays, and I feel a huge difference with the people and the culture, the food, everything was really different. And I felt like I need to move here.
And how did you decide to move here? Like how was the process and how's the experience so far?
I did a working holiday visa in Korea, and I discovered Taiwan proposed it also for French people. So I decided to come with this visa, which is 1 year, and offers the opportunity to work or not.
新加坡可以住哪一家饭店，可以体验非常棒的游泳池，还有可以吃到非常好吃的吃到饱到午晚餐，而且还非常适合拍照。有一家非常符合这些需求，叫做都市三尼乐谷的新加坡。我来介绍一下这家饭店。这家是新加坡的好好度假村，饭店以独特的台式设计与现代风格结合，为大家提供特别的住宿体验。他们的餐厅提供本地和国际美食的选项，给旅客们有台式、 西式、中式、日式和印度料理等等，满足大家的胃。食物非常好吃，而且有很多选择，还有他们的餐厅有非常多植物，所以喜欢拍照的朋友会非常喜欢这边。现在来给你们看一下房间，房间的空间是刚刚好，有很大的电视可以看，而且还有很美的景。从我们的房间可以看到游泳池跟高尔夫球场。最近要来新加坡的朋友可以刚好来住在杜西塔尼拉古的新加坡。
What was your first impression when you just came here to Taiwan?
Well, I came here during the height of COVID. And
Oh.
so that was really a lot. I had to do a 21-day quarantine in my hotel. So after that, I started to see that it was a very clean place. People were very kind, and overall, I had just tried to acclimate myself with just the culture here, just understanding how different it was. Overall, a really pleasant first impression.
Do you remember what was your first impression when you just came here to Taiwan?
Probably the first impression was during the quarantine because I had to stay at the quarantine for 3 weeks there. But the second impression that I had after I went out of the hotel, it was like how the nature can be so beautiful here. The university was at Shilin, and near the Shilin you can see the mountains, and the nature of this mountains is so beautiful. And also the Riverside Park, the Damshire Riverside Park, is also a beautiful place where I always went with my friends for a walk, and we also took a U-bike.
Like how was it to ride the U-bike for the first time? Like do you have something similar back home or not?
No, we don't have, and that's really a good thing. Like I really love this thing about Taiwan, the U-bikes, and I always take the U-bike to my university now.
When you just came here to Taiwan for the first time, like what was your first impression of Taiwan?
My house was really small. I'm used to South Africa, our houses take, because we have a lot of space, we have big gardens and bigger houses, and even in the UK, like the houses are smaller than South Africa, but here it was really small. So I remember arriving thinking, I have to live in such a small space. So that was a thing. And also just where I was living at the time, there was a lot of older buildings, which aren't so beautiful. So that I think was the immediate thing. But I think as time's gone by, you find a lot of beauty and interest in the little streets and like little things that are going on, and you become blind to maybe some buildings that look a bit old and not so great. Yeah.
What was your first impression when you just came here to Taiwan?
I remember thinking that the architecture was interesting. Pink tile buildings, green tile buildings. It was an interesting cityscape. That on the one hand, you notice Taipei 101 is sort of a world-leading kind of building. On the other hand, you have buildings that look like 1970s kitchen sinks, which I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that kind of environment. But otherwise, I thought the MRT and the built environment otherwise was very nice. Compared to the U.S.
And the first time you came here, was it in the summer or in the...
I got here in March.
Okay.
So people had told me that I had just, I came middle of March, and they're like, oh, you just missed the last like cold spell of the year. And I had at the time that winter been staying in Minnesota, so I was coming from, below zero, snow and all this, to come here, and it was about, 25 C. I'm like, oh, this is heaven. In March, this is great. So spring was lovely that year.
Do you remember what was your first impression when you just came to Taiwan?
The first time I came in Taiwan, it was 2017 in August. So I came here, I arrived in Kaohsiung, so in the south by plane for sure, and it was the first impression, yes, it was super hot. The second thing, because I have already been in Taiwan before 2017 for just 1 week, in 2015. So I already knew a little bit, but the first impression, it was hot and a lot of people. Because in Italy, I'm from Italy, so in Italy sometimes, usually,
it's not so crowded. Right?
Yeah, it's not crowded as Taiwan. So,
How was the dormitory? How was the transportation? Because you have to take the train for the first time. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was not a very different experience between Italy, so it was kind of good because I think here the transportation is kind of good. And the dormitory was kind of new, so it was a good impression. I did have big troubles. And the only thing is that when I arrived to the dormitory, I booked the dormitory for 6 months by mail, but when I arrived there, I don't know, they did some mistakes, so they say, we don't have the reservation, so I was a little bit scared, not scared, also tired after the long flight, so I didn't have a place, but after we managed to fix the situation.
And was it hard to communicate all in English at the first?
A little bit, because when I arrived, I was not able to speak Chinese at all. Now I can intermediate, but at the time, no. And when I arrived, I need to take the taxi, and I just show the address to the taxi driver. Yeah, so it was a little bit hard for sure. I think it was not impossible. And the good thing is that when I arrived to the to the dormitory, I didn't have the furniture like the mattress, etc. But there were some students that were just leaving, so they finished to study, and they said to me, you are just arrived. We are throwing away some mattress, some things, so I just got them for free. So it was very lucky.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice.
Because you can try to imagine. I arrived here, I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So no friends, no one. So I didn't know also where to buy these things. But I found these people that were living, so it was very lucky. So I think sometimes, in Taiwan here, I had some very lucky moments.
如果你也想成为下一位爆红创作者，请打开下方资讯栏连结，一起来投稿吧。